This is how you make the most premium 6-foot side gate for your property. My name's Scott DIY and welcome back to the channel. Right, so I'm here and I'm with Simon. He needs no introduction really because of what he does is just so amazing, but I'm here and we're gonna build a gate today, and not just any old gate, just like it's gonna be a really premium gate. And Simon's gonna help me do that. How are you doing, Simon?
Very well. It's great to have you in the workshop.
Honestly,
it really is.
It's such a pleasure to be here because I see you as someone who's really at the pinnacle of what you do. And for me, as a DIYer and someone who's so new to the trade, it's just nice to have the opportunity to learn. And I know you've also been on that journey in your past. I've seen your trade legends, and you did that. You realised you had a passion for something and went for it. And it's just, you're just passing those skills on.
Yes, it's a real privilege to have someone like you here to give me an opportunity to give something back. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to getting you hands on some really big power tools, making lots of sawdust, and ultimately speaking, making a beautiful gate.
Right, so the design of the gate. This might be a little bit different than what you've done before, but you know, that's the design. We just got to try and make it work. So if I do a very rough sketch, this won't be as technical as you may be used to, but if I say that obviously we've got the sides of the gate there, which would be called the
Legs.
Legs, okay, legs. And then we've got the struts across the middle.
Rails.
Rails like this. Yeah, so that's your standard frame that I've got in mind. But the tricky bit that I'm adding in is we're gonna add a curve on the top, and we've got these, let's make the sides a bit thicker so we can visualize it a bit better. And then in between here, we're gonna have some braces. Yep. Braces, there we go, like that. And then we're gonna have the tongue and groove coming through the middle like that.
In principle, it's similar to gates that I've made before, slightly different, because I think from a chat we had earlier, we're gonna make sure that the boards, are gonna cover the braces, but they're gonna be setting rebates in the rails and across the head there.
Yeah, okay.
I've not done that before, but that's exciting. We get to do something new. There is some mortises and tenons to do. There's a curve to make. There's some planing and thicknessing to do. There's a lot of processes. Yeah, there is.
Okay, so in principle, that's the design. Do you think we're going to do it today?
Definitely.
Fantastic.
Definitely.
Okay, so let's do it then. So Simon's just taught me through the thickness of planer, and we've done two sides. The first side was the big flat edge, and that took a few passes, and that's because really it was quite bowed and warped out of shape. But once we had that nice and flat, we could then put it against the fence, which means that we could get it nice and square on the other side as well. And then we put a nice square to make sure that we've got two edges that are perfectly 90 now, and then the rest is simply just putting it through the underneath of the machine, which then squares off all of the sides. So we've got a perfectly 90 piece all the way around. Right, so that's all the thickness of planing done. And we've got some really beautiful material now. When I brought this here, I actually thought the timber wasn't very good, and that's just because it looks so rough and it was all bowed and warped out of shape. But that is perfectly square and really smooth. It already fills me with so much hope that this gate is going to look unbelievable. But it's taken us a little while to get it to this stage. Hopefully all the other stages really don't take very long at all. What do you think, Simon?
Up to press, no, I think you've done a really good job of getting stuck into that machine, because it's something that I'm familiar with, but I accept that when you've never seen one or been near one before, it kind of looks a bit ugly. It's obviously very powerful. It's removing a lot of timber very quickly. It is a bit dangerous. So to see you get stuck in and treat it with respect and use it safely, that was really good. So well done. And the pieces of timber that you've machined are just as good as mine. They're all straight, they're all square. So well done.
Fantastic. It is a little bit scary. I haven't used one of them before. I haven't even seen one in, you know, in real life. So it's kind of like, you know, just first hands-on, like you said, it's got big teeth, you know, it's a powerful machine. Hopefully the next bit won't take us quite as long because we are running out of time, right?
Well, there's one thing for sure, it isn't going to do itself.
Yeah.
So let's get on to the next step.
So while Simon is over there in the background marking out the gate, I'm just kind of going to talk through what it is that we've been discussing and the way that we're going to do it. So as you can see, Simon's getting his tape measure out because we need to make sure that the finished width of this gate is 905, and we're doing that because the total width that I need is 92 centimeters. So we're giving it a little bit of room for the gate to expand and contract with weather conditions when it's actually in place. Right now is maybe the most complex part of the measurements because we're making sure that we're cutting the mortise and tenons correctly. We're not going to do through mortise and tenons. These are going to be hidden, which are new to me, but it's something that Simon has explained. And to be honest, it seems like a better solution. So let's have a look at those. So we're doing this tenon, and we're doing it in the way without the fancy machinery. And we're doing it in the way that most people would cut a tenon in a workshop with a mitre saw. We've just been cutting these grooves. Simon did the first lot, and then I said I'd have a go. One thing that you can easily do with this is, one is getting these spaces even, not an easy task because it takes a little bit of skill. And the other thing is getting the depth just right is about the pressure you put down on the blade. And so obviously I went through this and I made a little bit of a mistake at first. I didn't cut it deep enough, and then I went back through it and I pressed down on the blade just a bit too much, and then you can see that it's just maybe a mil out. So there is actual skill involved in using this to make a tenon, and when you've been doing it a lot, like Simon will have in the past before he's got his new machinery, like that would have probably felt like second nature to you. Yeah,
I mean, even though we set the depth stop on the machine, invariably there's still a little bit of flex in the machine, and that's what you experience. Not enough pressure doesn't allow it to contact the depth stop, so it's too shallow. But if you just put a little bit too much pressure on, there is a bit of flex in it. I've had countless mitre saws, they're all exactly the same. So you've just got to pick a pressure and set to, but that's just practice. Pretty good. So that is our tenon.
Nice.
It's too long at the moment, but that's fine. We can cut it off to whatever length we want. Better to be too long than too short.
And that took us probably about 5 or 6 hours to do.
It definitely took a little while.
Yeah.
I don't think we hung around though. I think we've gone through those processes and those motions pretty promptly, but there's a faster way.
Yeah, well, to be honest, if people are doing it this way, I don't know what they do in like a factory where they're making loads of these sorts of gates, but if they're doing it in this way, you can see why people can charge such a premium for a gate like this, because the time it takes, realistically with installation, it's a two-day job, isn't it?
Yes, with installation, yeah.
Yeah, and that's not including like finding the right materials, getting the design off the customer, you know, all that type of stuff. You're looking at another day, so it's 3 days.
You can see how a simple gate, from a business perspective, from my side of the table, has to add up to what eventually ends up being quite a large figure.
Let's get on the big guns.
Next one.
So we are at a key point in this whole project, which is we've taken the rough-sawn timber, we put it through the thickness of planer. My very first time ever using a machine like that. It's awesome. It's give us these beautiful pieces of timber to work with that are now all exactly the same thickness, right? And I've been learning about how we can change all the dials on the thickness of planer, which is literally like just millimeter precision. It's even 1/10 of a millimeter, which is just phenomenal. It's so nice to use machinery like that. Then we've got the tenons, We've done a tenon in the traditional way. That's obviously using the miter saw, chisel, hammer, and just kind of doing the best you can. It's not as neat as that thing though. And I don't know if we can see this on the camera, but it's the Mafal
NFU 50.
NFU 50. That thing cuts through timber like nothing else. It's super hardcore. It's very expensive tool, but if you're doing loads of these tenons, it's going to come in handy. We know that we have to be super accurate on these tenons that we're cutting. Here's the example that we've already done. This is a real key part, because if these tenons are out, then we're going to have like lips, the gate's not going to be square, it's going to just be a little bit of a mess. So far, do you think I've covered everything? And how well do you think I'm doing?
I think you're doing extremely well, definitely.
I'm not asking you to, don't want you to big me up or anything.
I'm from Yorkshire, I'll tell you how it is. No, you're doing very well, very, very well. When someone gives me a brand new piece of kit that I've never seen and used before, you do just have to take a minute and think about how you're going to use it, and you've managed to do that very well. That thing is intimidating, and I won't be told different, it just is. The speed it cuts is pretty mind-blowing. It's
the most intimidating machinery I've ever used.
Difficult to kind of convey that through a video, but it is. It's loud, it's noisy, it knocks lumps out of timber, and it just means it, doesn't it?
Yeah, and if you're going to go wrong, you're going to go very wrong. That's the thing.
It is.
But we're now at a position where we can literally just start smashing through all this timber with this. I'm not even going to say the name of it again because I'll get it wrong, but we'll just keep smashing these tenons out, and then we'll be at a point where we can cut the radius on the top. And we're starting to have a gate, which I am actually really excited about.
Curve then. Now, there's a whole host of different ways of marking curves. You could do it with an enormous, great big compass, big long stick, but the middle of it would be somewhere in the next postcode. We haven't got the room for that, so we use this. This is a curve bow. This is actually what we use to mark the curves on our knee braces for the oak frames. It's essentially a thin piece of timber and a piece of string. The tighter the string, the tighter the curve. It's that simple. So it's just a case of putting a knot in the string at the appropriate point that gives us the curve that we want, draw around it, simple as that.
So Simon and I have had the legs of the gate laid out. We've got the rails on top of the legs, and then we position them in the right place, which is the place that they are going to stay, and we marked out where the tenons sit on top of the legs, so that then we can transfer those lines down onto the face of the legs that we're then going to mortise. And to do that, we're using a mortising machine called the hollow chisel mortiser, which basically is like Ron Seal. It just does what it says on the tin. Hopefully we'll get this, get these mortises done. A really important part of routing out the legs and the rails, and we need to make sure first that we've got the router right in the center. Otherwise, if we have it a little bit off, it's not going to make the gate look very good. So we're doing a few test runs, and I feel like we're going to be there or thereabouts. And we're also deciding what glue we're going to be using as well. Are we going to use CT1 to glue the tongue and groove in, or should we be using something else? We spent a long time routing this all out. We've got all our pieces that have been put together. We've now got the tongue and groove boards, which 22 mil thick, are they? Something like that?
21.
Okay, 21 mil thick. Now we need to cut them to size so they fit that way. We've already cut them that way, so we're not just measuring the distance between the open part, we've also got the rebate to think about, which in total for 2 of them is 30 mil. So we've cut them to size and they are perfect. Now, you've just told me about spacing the tongue and groove out, and that wasn't something I thought about. Why are we spacing it out?
So this is kiln dried timber, which means it's very, very dry. It's going to be left outside. It is going to soak up some ambient moisture, and it is only going to get bigger. You can't stop it. You have to just make an allowance for that and allow each board to be able to swell. So we have used 2 mil packers in between each board to allow each one to move as it sees fit. I know it's going to be decorated, I know it's going to be painted, and I know to a degree it's going to be sealed, but even so, just as a precautionary measure, space them out.
Yeah, and you know what, when you first told me, I thought, oh, I'm not sure how that's going to look. Now you've explained it to me, I've realised it's not even about the looks, it's literally you've got to do it.
It's the difference between your gate lasting and not lasting.
Yeah, exactly.
And actually, when the packers are out,
it doesn't look too bad, does it?
You can't really
and
tell, can you?
When we first started doing it, I was just trying to use one packer and move down it like that. That's not going to work.
No, you need loads of packers.
You need loads of them.
You do.
Yeah, ace. It's done.
It is done.
I can't believe it.
Neither can I.
Well, I know, yeah, I know. We have worked on this. Well, I set off very early this morning. I set off at something like 6 a.m. Hit the motorway, brought all the timber with me, and now we're here with a gate that looks like a rich person gate.
It does, doesn't it?
It does.
Oozes class and high end. Do you know what I put that down to?
Go on.
The design, the style, the extra bits at the top that we came up with together, the curve that you kind of came up with,
yeah.
The fact that the panels are inset. I love it. It's not something that I've made before, but I'm delighted, absolutely delighted that we got stuck in and got it done.
Honestly, we really have got stuck in because it's late now and I've still got a long drive to get back. This is amazing, and it isn't just about the gate. It's obviously about me learning. It's a big important thing for me and my channel as well, because I want to learn how to do these things just because that's my natural passion, and the people who watch all of the content that I create love to see me learning new things, failing sometimes, but also, you know, passing on those skills and knowledge for the people as well. And you've done exactly that. We've had the tools, you've had the skill and the knowledge, and it's just been a crazy full day.
It has been.
But hopefully I will be taking a lot of this away with me and learning a lot. It looks absolutely phenomenal and I can't wait to get it hung. Thanks again, Simon.
No, you're very welcome. It's been a lot of fun.
It really has. Thank you.